Hector Sousa, a Mexican millionaire, experienced a memorable moment while walking with his daughter in a poor neighborhood. After a trip to San Diego, California, he discovered his wallet had disappeared after getting off the ferry. Unexpectedly, a street urchin found it and returned it intact. But the story didn't stop there, when the hedgehog asked for a surprising reward, making Hector and his daughter move to tears. Hector Sousa is not only a millionaire but also a famous philanthropist, once interviewed by Forbes. He belongs to the super-rich class in Mexico and has invested in large retail chains since the 1990s. In addition to business, he also actively mobilizes finance to provide food, clothing and medical care for people in need in Mexico and throughout Latin America. The story of the hedgehog's honesty and Hector's act of kindness becomes an inspirational lesson. On that day, millionaire Hector Sousa was exploring a tourist destination on the west coast of the United States with his daughter, Margarita Sousa, who had just turned 18. Margarita had been to America several times with her father, but she never had the opportunity to fully enjoy her time there as she would have liked. To mark her coming of age, she wishes to hold a special celebration in the United States. With love for his daughter, Hector took a week off from work to enjoy this trip with her. The days in America brought beautiful memories to the Sousa father and son. But few people expected that their adventure would become especially memorable not only because of the beautiful landscape but also because of an unexpected event that touched them. The philanthropist contacted a friend who worked for a luxury hotel chain in California to propose a passionate idea. The businessman and his daughter Margarita went to America on a trip. They spent 3 days there, visiting Disneyland and driving through Los Angeles. Currently, father and son are in San Diego, where they just returned from a visit to Coronado Island. They are making plans for the next day, maybe going to the zoo or water park. Although Coronado is a popular tourist destination, it also has a poor neighborhood with a predominantly Mexican population. Businessman Hector wants to explore the street and the lives of local people. His curiosity was not only for splendid destinations but also for a deeper understanding of people's real lives. On the occasion of her birthday, Hector planned to take his daughter Margarita to a new place. However, she was not very interested in exploring poor neighborhoods in America. Even so, Margarita still patiently accepted to avoid causing conflicts. On a sunny summer day, the two boarded a boat packed with tourists to return to the city. When the ship docked, Hector suddenly realized something was wrong. He quickly searched his shirt pockets, then searched his pants pockets, but his wallet mysteriously disappeared. Hector felt confused. He asked Margarita if she had seen his wallet. Margarita shook her head. Hector looked around, his eyes showing concern when he realized an unexpected incident on this trip. When Hector realizes his wallet is gone, Margarita wonders if her father hasn't used it in a while. Hector replied that he had just used it to buy a souvenir when they visited a poor neighborhood on the island. With a voice full of frustration, Margarita said, "I told you not to go there. You must have been robbed." Hector, not wanting to jump to conclusions, says he may have left his wallet somewhere, possibly on a boat full of tourists from all over the world. Margarita, unable to hide her disappointment, looked around and said, "Dad, do you think that if someone found the wallet, they would return it?" Hector hopes that someone will contact him and return the wallet. Margarita did not know it, but this incident would soon have a profound impact on her life. Fate is ready to draw a new page full of surprises. More than 2 hours have passed since Hector Sousa returned to the hotel, but his phone remained silent, not receiving any calls related to the lost wallet. Cruise ship staff searched everywhere, but there was no trace. The shipping company was worried that the millionaire might sue them. But no one was more worried than Margarita Sousa, his daughter. Margarita felt restless thinking about this incident. The worried looks of the staff did not help her relax. Margarita's mind swirled with thoughts about the consequences this loss could have, especially for her father, who had great influence and power. She just hoped that the wallet would be found soon, so that all their worries could vanish like the breeze at sea. Margarita learns that, in addition to cash, her father's wallet also contained several important credit cards for her long-awaited birthday celebration. She couldn't hide her worry as she kept repeating that her father must have been robbed while they were on the island. "Don't you realize that those people are taking advantage of you?" she said, her voice mixed with frustration and anger. "I went to that poor neighborhood with kindness, but they took advantage of me." Margarita's grumbles echoed in the hotel room, but inside her, the tension had erupted into fear. She feels like everything is falling apart, as their hopes and plans for the celebration become more fragile than ever. Margarita exploded in anger, her voice ringing with frustration. "Dad, you brought me to a poor neighborhood for my birthday. Look, where this has led us." Hector took a deep breath, pondered for a moment before gently telling her, "I love you, Margarita, but you need to understand more about life. You have grown up, but there are still many things you don't know." The tension in the air seemed to calm down, but Margarita remained upset, realizing that her father's words contained concern and hope for her future. With a little sympathy, Hector is trying to open a new door, helping Margarita understand that life has many surprises and meanings that she has not yet discovered. "Do you think my life is always good and easy? You didn't know that I had been through hardship, girl," said philanthropist Hector. He reminded her that he was born in a poor neighborhood in Mexico. His mother worked as a chef, and his father was a tailor. In Hector's voice, Margarita could sense pride and love for her origins. He talked about his childhood days, when his family struggled to make ends meet. "Dad had to overcome many difficulties to get to where he is today," Hector continued, his eyes shining with determination. Hector started working at a department store in the capital when he was 14 years old to help support his family. He only had the opportunity to study on his own terms when he was 24 years old, when he became a store manager. While sharing the story, Hector told his daughter that he had to endure many difficulties and even had to eat crow from bosses and customers to get to the position he is in today. He continued to talk about the days he had to go to work by bus, sometimes not having enough money to eat breakfast. Stories about difficult days made Margarita broaden her horizons, understanding that her father's success did not come easily. Hector's perseverance and determination are valuable lessons for Margarita, helping her realize that sacrifice and effort are the keys to success. There were times when Hector had to skip lunch. But in the end, everything worked out for him. "Do you know how lucky I was? Luck, my daughter, can change lives," he said, his eyes shining with remembrance. He recalled the first time he met Margarita's mother when he was in college. That meeting changed his life, bringing him love and happiness. However, that happiness did not last forever. Margarita's mother died of tuberculosis, leaving Hector with a void that could not be filled. These memories made him appreciate life even more, and he wanted to pass on to his daughter the understanding that life can be difficult, but also full of surprises and opportunities. Margarita realized that her father's story was not only about his successes but also about his losses and how he overcame them. This made her better understand her father's strength, and inspired her to appreciate life and the opportunities it brings. Although he had achieved considerable wealth, Hector realized that money could not save his wife. This loss was a blow to Hector's life, but also served as a reminder of humility. After this tragic event, when Margarita was only 3 years old, Hector Sousa began to gain fame as a philanthropist. Although their celebration plans were interrupted, Hector and Margarita remained safe in the comfort of a 5-star hotel, a privilege few people in the world have. Hector repeated this, trying to comfort both father and son. Margarita sat quietly listening, reflecting on what had happened. The next day, Hector's phone rang. "That's a strange number." When he answered, the person on the other end of the line said they had found his wallet and gave an address a little away from the tourist area. A ray of hope flashed in Hector's eyes, and he felt grateful that luck was on his side, when Hector stood up with a smile on his face. Margarita nervously protested. "Think carefully, father, this could be a ruse or a trap. How do we know for sure that person really has your wallet?" Hector calmly replied, "There won't be any problem." The caller had a childish voice and sounded trustworthy. Margarita, still feeling concerned, summoned the hotel's security guards, who usually escort them when necessary, and explained the situation. Both father and son realized that caution was necessary in this situation. With careful preparation, they felt more secure as they prepared to go to the provided address, hoping to find Hector's lost wallet. The security guard entered Margarita's room, trying to convince Hector not to go to that address. However, Hector simply replied that he would trust his intuition and decided to find the wallet to continue the celebration plans that the trip promised. So all three people left the luxury hotel and headed to a nearby boulevard. As the security guards drove along the avenue, they left the brightly lit tourist area and entered a more modest, darker residential area. Margarita looked around nervously, feeling a surge of fear in her heart. The atmosphere, different from the safety of a five-star hotel, made her feel uncomfortable, but Hector maintained his confidence, believing that his intuition would guide the way. Margarita's birthday suddenly turns into a dangerous adventure. Her heart pounded every time the motorbikes passed by their car. When stopped at a red light, she became nervous, looking around at other cars as if expecting a gun pointed at her. The bodyguard did not make her feel more secure or safe. For her, it was truly a scary place. On the contrary, Hector was completely calm. He did not show any fear, on the contrary, it seemed like he was on a new and exciting journey. The contrast between Margarita's panic and Hector's confidence further highlights the difference in their approaches to life. When he arrived at the location, Hector couldn't help but remember his youth. Margarita could not understand why her father could be so relaxed. Because not only his life but also hers was in danger. Finally, they came to a neighborhood with simple, modest houses. The bodyguard firmly refused to let Hector get out of the car. Meanwhile, Hector clapped his hands and a child appeared. Everything seems to be going in an unexpected way. Margarita, her heart beating fast with anxiety, observed the situation with wariness, while Hector remained calm and hopeful. In his small hands, the child clutched Hector's wallet. He stood at the gate, carefully handing the wallet to the bodyguard to return to the charity house. When opening the wallet, Hector quickly realized it was his wallet. All of his documents, cards, and money were intact. Nothing was missing. Hector smiled brightly, filled with joy and gratitude. Margarita, standing next to him, breathed a sigh of relief. The luck and kindness of strangers brought them an unexpected and heartwarming ending to this dramatic story. The boy, perhaps 13 years old, was thin with bright eyes and old clothes. Looking at him, Hector couldn't help but remember his difficult childhood. The millionaire got out of the car with his daughter and respectfully thanked the boy for returning his wallet. Hector's appreciation was clear on his face, and Margarita looked at the boy with new eyes. This unexpected meeting not only helps them find their wallet but also gives them both a lesson about honesty and kindness. This story highlights the human spirit, and in that moment, Hector saw a part of his past in the boy's bright eyes. "You helped me avoid a headache." "Thank you," Hector said. The boy, taking advantage of the gentleman's friendliness, asked for $2. Margarita laughed nervously when she heard this. "See, Dad? What did I say? Luckily we have a security guard. What's going on, daughter?" Hector asked. Margarita said worriedly, "Father, give him all the money before his accomplices show up." "We should leave here." Margarita's reaction confused the boy. He quickly explained, "It's not like that, ma'am. I didn't have a phone, so I used my last money to call you from a public phone. I stayed up all night begging for food on the street but didn't get it. So, I used my savings to buy my sister a small cake. Tomorrow is her birthday." Hector, fascinated by the boy's story, asked him to continue. Meanwhile, Margarita, both scared and curious, sat quietly listening, not knowing what would happen next. The boy, named Paul, said he didn't remember much about his childhood. He never knew who his father was, and had lived on the streets with his mother and sister for more than a year. Not far from where they were standing, just a few blocks, was where the boy's family temporarily stayed along with many other homeless people. Hector listened to Paul's story with eyes filled with sympathy. Margarita, sitting next to her, felt sympathy welling up in her heart when she heard about the boy's plight. Through this story, Hector and Margarita realized that, even though it was just a wallet, it connected their lives with Paul, bringing a new perspective on kindness. Paul reminisces about his birthday and the cake his mother made when they lived in a small apartment. It was his first and only party. The cake wasn't big, and the only people who sang him happy birthday were his mother and sister. Although simple, it was still the happiest memory of Paul's life. Paul's story touched Hector and Margarita. The simplicity but full of love of the small party made them understand more about the true value of happiness. In that moment, both Hector and Margarita realized that, sometimes, simple things bring true joy. Even though he was kicked out of home, Paul wanted to make sure his sister had a happy memory as well. So he had to ask for money on the street to buy his sister a cake. Margarita couldn't stop crying, her hand on her chest. Once afraid of that place and suspicious of the boy's intentions, she now felt ashamed for making hasty judgments. But what touched her most was the fact that Paul's sister also shared her birthday. Paul's story not only touched Hector and Margarita but also reminded them of the value of sympathy and love, overcoming all differences in circumstances. Margarita surprised everyone by taking out a card from the luxury hotel where she was staying and inviting Paul, his mother and sister to visit the next day. She asked her father's permission before opening her wallet and giving the boy $300. "Paul, please use this money to buy clothes for yourself and your family." This action made Hector smile proudly. Margarita, once fearful and suspicious, now proves her compassion. She realized that sometimes, a small action can bring great joy to others. She and her father made a special day not only for Paul's family, but also for themselves, with warmth and humanity. Without the right clothes, your child might not even be able to get into the hotel reception, Margarita explains. After breaking up, on the way back, Hector Sousa planned to take his bodyguard to the restaurant he had booked for Margarita's birthday. But she stopped him and asked to go back to the hotel. "What's the matter, daughter?" asked the millionaire. "Dad, the money we spend for one night here could feed Paul's family for a whole month." Margarita said, "Let's go back to the hotel, order a pizza and discuss what we should do tomorrow, okay Dad?" Hector agreed. He looked at his daughter with proud eyes. His years of charity work seemed to have finally had a positive influence on his daughter. Paul, his sister Cindy and his mother, Elizabeth, went to the clothing store early the next morning. They left there with brand new clothes and in a happy mood. Margarita gave them enough money not only to buy clothes but also to enjoy breakfast, a luxury they hadn't had in over a year. In addition, they had enough money to buy bus tickets to the hotel and still had a little left over. Paul's family felt warmed by this unexpected kindness. Seeing them in their new clothes, fresh and full of hope, was a sweet moment both for them and for Margarita. This not only brought joy to Paul's family but also showed a positive change in Margarita's heart, as she learned to appreciate and share happiness. When they arrived at the five-star hotel, Paul's family became embarrassed. Paul's mother always dreamed of visiting such a place, but when she was actually there, she didn't know what to do. After entering the lobby, they were led to a garden with lush green grass and a table decorated with flowers and colorful decorations. The whole family was surprised and touched by this special welcome. They had never experienced such luxury and hospitality. Paul, Cindy, and Elizabeth looked at each other with radiant eyes, seeing that dreams could come true. In this magical moment, they feel like they are living in a fairy tale, thanks to the kindness of a strange but warm family. Paul's sister, her eyes shining, exclaimed that this was the most beautiful place she had ever seen. Margarita responded with a gentle smile, saying it meant a lot to her. Both of them kept smiling, feeling the warmth of the moment. Hector, thanks to the help of his hotel chain manager friend, invited all the families with children to a birthday party. Many people gathered in the garden, where children ran and played with Cindy and Paul. Margarita joined in the fun with the children. For the first time, she felt the feeling her father often experienced when helping others. Paul and Cindy, for the first time, enjoyed mousse on a giant chocolate cake. Elizabeth, Cindy, and Paul's mother were filled with joy, and they were hugged tightly by Margarita. She tried to hold back tears of happiness on her first day of turning 18. The party was not only a birthday celebration but also the beginning of a new, meaningful relationship. Margarita realized that the greatest joy comes not from receiving but from giving, and she couldn't have asked for a more meaningful birthday gift. Hector realized that a birthday party alone was not enough to help the family, so he took Elizabeth to meet the hotel manager. The millionaire expressed surprise that her son returned the wallet in intact condition, even though the family faced many difficulties. Hector decided to not only reward Paul's honesty, but also wanted to bring new opportunities to his family. He understands that helping in a sustainable way creates lasting change. Hector commented that if a son had such qualities, it could only be the result of a good education. "I congratulate you on your integrity," he said, and Elizabeth responded with gratitude. The hotel manager then said he could help Elizabeth. "Recently, I discovered that one of our cleaning staff was involved in a minor theft. She and 2 other staff members stole items from tourists without their knowledge until they returned to their home country." Elizabeth was confused when she heard the manager speak, but gradually, she realized that this could be an opportunity for her to start a new life. Hector's generosity and goodwill not only created a memorable celebration but also opened a new door for Elizabeth and her family, providing hope for the future. The hotel manager went on to explain that after identifying the employees involved, they fired them all and needed to hire new people. To lead the team, they need someone honest and confident. "I'm not sure if it was luck or something else, Elizabeth," he said, "but when your son returned that wallet intact, it changed the fate of your entire family." The manager's words made Elizabeth emotional. Unexpected events opened a new opportunity for her family. She realized that sometimes, honesty and kindness can bring unexpected opportunities. With eyes sparkling with joy, Elizabeth felt that their lives had entered a new, promising chapter. The manager continued, "If you want, I can appoint her as head of the housekeeping team." "What do you think?" he asked Hector. "Of course," Hector replied with a bright smile. "That makes me so happy. She totally deserves it." Elizabeth was stunned. Her mouth opened. The offer was so unexpected, and she could hardly believe her luck. The good thing her son did created a new opportunity for the whole family, marking the beginning of a new chapter in their lives. Elizabeth never imagined that one day she would set foot in such a luxurious hotel, let alone attend a birthday party and be offered a job. She embarrassedly admitted that she didn't know whether she was qualified for the position, but the manager replied, "Well, Miss Elizabeth, you've got the most important qualities, character and integrity." Next week, a new chapter began in their family's life. Paul and Cindy boarded the school bus, carrying bright smiles, ready to face a brighter future. The positive change that comes from a small action has brought good things and opened up new opportunities for the whole family. Paul and Cindy wore brand new clothes and brought new school supplies when they boarded the bus to school. Elizabeth, with a beaming smile, took the bus to the outskirts of town, to the 5-star hotel where she started her new job. She felt like the luckiest woman in the world. Hector and Margarita continued their trip as planned, but nothing could compare to the happiness Margarita felt at the party in the hotel garden. Their story is a testament to how acts of kindness can bring joy, not only to the recipient but also to the giver. When Margarita looked at her father, she clearly understood why he was never satisfied with wealth alone. He found true joy in helping others, and now she understands it. If you love this story, show it with a like. The next video that appears on the screen may bring you memorable emotions. Have a great day and see you in the next videos.